All heroes don't wear capes, and all extraordinary women don't walk around sharing their victories. Am I out of your frame?
Yeah, it's good. Who am I? That is the question of like life, right? That's life's mystery.
So I just had my first appointment here at the David and Donna Long Cancer Center. I mean, even the idea of just having to be at the cancer center sends me. I learned a lot. I relearned a lot. But today, Dr. Medic, who Dr. Langberg referred me to, is basically like, AC, this is the first cancer, chemo, every 2 weeks for 8 weeks, followed by Tamoxifen or some shit, once a week for 12 weeks. And if I don't start within 8 weeks from now, in 2 months, it won't do it because it might have grown back. And chemo is to get the micro pieces, tiny, tiny, tiny specks of cancer. Which means that he doesn't want to give me time to retrieve my eggs. While still acknowledging the possibility of sterility. The 2-month time limit makes me feel like I have a lot less control. And that 2-month time limit is because I have triple negative breast cancer. Because it always has to be treated with chemo. And I don't mean control in the sense of like I know what I'm doing, but once a week, 12 weeks. So it's crazy. Is it worth it if I can't start a family? And I'm not saying like it's a guarantee, but like, is it? Is it worth it? And today's my sister's vow renewal, and I have to be a citizen. I gotta be in pocket. Perform. Be pretty. But I'm going to. But I got a lot to think about.
never seen anything like this. I'm like scooping my hair off of my head. Oh my gosh. I thought it was short enough. I'm literally sick. So one of the craziest parts about going through chemotherapy is like looking at yourself in the mirror. Like I constantly look at myself and I have to say in the mirror, like, I look like this. Like, you don't know how weird it is to see yourself with like no hair, like no eyelashes, no eyebrows. And listen, do you think that I'm playing? This is me with like eyebrows that have been smeared off already, okay? So I have less eyebrows in this. So I'm constantly shocked every time I go into the bathroom.
Good morning. If nobody told you, this shit gonna work out exactly how it's supposed to. Tell yourself.
That's the only thing new. I had 7 last week, and this week I have 2, okay? And every time I try to be cute and put on lash strips, it takes... Brittney Caldwell. I am a new auntie. I'm a 40-year-old breast cancer survivor.
Wow.
I'm an actor, but I think more importantly, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a best friend.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for being so vulnerable, sharing your story, your history. So, I mean, that being said, I guess let's just dive right in, right? Can you take us back to the moment that you first learned you had breast cancer? What were your first thoughts? What was running through your mind?
Interestingly enough, I knew before I knew, right? So before I actually got an official cancer diagnosis, I knew. But my first thoughts were, I don't want to do this. And it was pertaining to the fact that I was thinking about all of the things that it would require for me to make it onto the other side.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to go bald. I didn't want to do chemo. I didn't want to potentially have surgeries that would mutilate my body. I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
But that thought actually led me to understanding how it came about in the first place.
When you realize, okay, like, I don't want to do it, you saying that so many times, that did something. That became a realization that, well, maybe this is how I got here.
I heard myself saying, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do this. And I heard myself saying that so many times before. Like, it was a sound bite, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wait. It stopped me in my tracks.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wait, I've been saying this for a few years. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
And it struck me that, like, oh, universe is giving me something else I don't want to do.
Yeah. That's a tough one.
Well, kind of. I live by a certain set of beliefs, a belief system. I'm not religious, I'm spiritual, but I do believe in, I'll say, the science of spirituality. More in the world of quantum physics and neuroplasticity. So I do believe you can think yourself into any situation, believe yourself into any situation. And that's good or bad. Some people might be familiar with something like, the law of attraction. And that might be a simpler way to just kind of paint the picture that I believe that what you think about, you bring about. So for 2 years prior to my cancer diagnosis, I was in extreme stress. I was doing a survival career that I didn't want to do anymore. Everybody knows as an actor, sometimes you might have to do something that you're not passionate about to be able to fund your creativity, right? Well, I was doing life insurance. And it was all good until COVID hit. And I could no longer do life insurance in person. See, if I meet up with you in person, then I'm literally delivering a script. I'm educating you. That's what I do in the theater, right? I'm going off of a script. I'm feeding off the energy in the room. I'm educating you in some way. Sometimes people forget that as actors, sometimes I'm just educating on human nature. So we started to have to do this over Zoom. Zoom had just gotten popular. The need was created from COVID. So while I could still work technically, it stripped away the joy. And I would wake up every morning, appointments on calendar, and I'd be like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Which led to, I lived in this beautiful, expensive apartment downtown San Diego. And every first of the month, what am I thinking? I don't want to do this. I'd backed myself into a corner. Originally, I was bringing in all this money and, my two worlds were working together really well. I was educating people on life insurance. I was still acting. I had money coming in from every direction. I had just completed writing a play. I felt really accomplished, successful. I just finished my master's. Everything was working. COVID came, changed everything, and I didn't want to do it. I didn't want that expensive rent. I didn't want to do this job to have to pay this expensive rent. I was so trapped. I was in major survival mode. And I can honestly say that I was physically stressed daily. So when I got the diagnosis and I heard myself say, I don't want to do this, I was able to flash back to 2 years of how I flooded my body with stress, how I felt like I was in survival mode, and how I got up and did something every single day that I didn't want to do. So if my belief is true that what you think about, you bring about in the simplest form, then I created it. So at the same time, understanding I now have a devastating, potentially terminal diagnosis, because I don't know where it is, right? There's something about being able to take responsibility and knowing that yeah, this is crazy, but I did it. It's also empowering at the same time. Because if I created it, I could uncreate it. I could create something new. I could create health in the same way that I created sickness.
Yeah. When did you first start to believe that your mind had a role in your illness and also in your healing?
I think that one of the things I was really blessed with is being exposed to personal development and spiritual work of all kinds. It really started when I was 19. So, again, what you're open to, you'll see more of. Just like if you start to look for a new car, right? As soon as you start thinking about that car, you'll see it over and over and over again, right? So in the same sense, I craved more knowledge about how to manifest a life, right? So although the first thing was just sent to me by a friend, I promise you, one of my friends from Prairie View. I went for 1 semester. I left and she sent me a burnt DVD copy of The Secret.
No.
And I watched that thing on repeat. When I was 12, I decided that I was going to be a hairstylist so that I could be an actor that never had to do odd jobs and on other people's time. I guess that really was the beginning of manifesting, and I didn't know that. So I used to be doing hair on the weekends, and I'd be playing The Secret. And I'm telling you, my siblings, they thought I was crazy. But I was fascinated with that. And, more things came my way. So I'd done all these courses, the Personal Success Institute, right? There's the basic seminar, life success course, and women's leadership. But within that, although it sounds like it's success, maybe it's marketed toward like the corporate lens. People go if they want to do well in business, but it's spiritual. It's very locked into universal laws, I will say, right? And all these things are connected, just like people, everybody, and all these things are connected. So by the time I got my diagnosis, I was very clear that even though sometimes it doesn't feel like it, most of our lives are dictated by our thoughts. This is really what I believe. And if things happen that you don't like, it's likely because you have a repetitive rogue thought. And this is not to say that sometimes in life we will not be victim to circumstances outside of our control, right? This is not to victim blame or victim shame. But I'm telling you, if you are diagnosed with something like cancer, a life-threatening disease, the first feeling you will likely have is that something is happening to you, that life is happening at you. And that doesn't make it better, right? Like that makes it a lot worse, especially if you believe in God, and I do. Then the question would be like, why did God choose this for me? And I don't know. I don't know if that would be a great feeling to think like, oh, God picked me to suffer like this. Because even if you haven't had the experience, you understand that it's going to take something to overcome because so many people don't. Which leads me to this thought. Okay, I've had enough free will to create a circumstance that I don't want. I don't want to do this. So I've created that. I have to be able to overcome to create something that I do want. And because I've gone through all of these different training programs, I have a circle of people who also believe these things. And fortunately for me, I had a few phone calls upon diagnosis that were able to remind me and to help me get back on track. So, yes, what we know, what we consume, our training is so important, but the people around you are just as important, right? Your team in big moments, your tribe, your support system is just as important as the strength of your own mind. Because they're going to be the ones that literally support you when you can't hold yourself up. So when you have moments of mental weakness, people always think about the physical things. But this part was my emotional and mental support and my reminders at the beginning that set me up for success so that I could mentally and physically and emotionally be strong for the rest of the way. In the very first days, my brother and another friend, his name is Peps, they both did all of the same training that I did. And my brother said something so profound, I'll never forget it. He said, "B, we've been training for this. We didn't know what we were training for, but we've been training for it." And it clicked. Yeah, what was all that work for? Sure, maybe to have more success in life, but this is when it really matters. It ain't about success in life, it's about living. And how do I want to live? And following that, I was going through my process, and I had a friend, Peps, remind me about letting things go. Because I knew the thought that brought me there, but there are other thoughts that contributed to it. And
what were some of those thoughts, if you don't mind, sharing?
Resentment.
Resentment towards yourself or towards other people or life in general?
And that's the thing. We have resentments that we just hold on to, and they are stored. And he walked me through an exercise, a process to help to start release resentments and to begin to forgive. And this process was simple, but not easy. He had me write a letter to the first person that I could think of that I needed to forgive. Write the letter, read it, burn it. There is something about putting pen to paper and saying things that you've never been able to say. Or maybe even things you have said before, but it just didn't go through. But the releasing part is getting rid of that because you've already been holding on to it. Burn it. Destroy it. You don't need it anymore. And you can do that for as many people, as many times as you need to. And it just reminded me and took me into a process of forgiving people, events, things, and myself for all these little things I had been holding on to over the years. My therapist now calls it a little knapsack. If you think about the cartoons and the people leaving, I was holding on to every wound. And it doesn't affect the other people. It doesn't affect the events. I'm the only one storing that, which led me to a belief that I share with other people who are diagnosed with anything or going through a tough time. Resentment cannot live in a healing body. There's not space for both. So you gotta choose one. Do you wanna heal or do you wanna hold on to your knapsack full of resentments? Resistance, resentment, revenge. It's gonna happen. First you're resisting something, it turns into a resentment, and eventually, if you let that fester long enough, you'll try to take revenge on a thing or something. But everything that you feel for somebody or something else, you feel in yourself first. So all that resentment was turning into revenge, and I was carrying out the revenge on myself. And so it made sense. I had the book knowledge. And now those just two very simple reminders put me into a space and started the momentum for me to be able to start my process again. So without those 2 conversations, those reminders, even though I knew the thought, I don't know that my process would have been the same.
How did you protect your beliefs, protect that core group, right, from all the naysayers? I'm sure there's 1,000 different people telling you, nowadays you post something on social media and all the experts come, right? All the medical professionals that never went to medical school come in and they have all the details to give you. So how did you keep all of that out, all the people that didn't believe in what you believed in, out of your corner and out of your ear? How did you deal with that?
It's so funny. You're so right. Everybody knows everything. The internet has empowered people to say really wild things. I protected my mental space like my brain was a prisoner, because I know how important thoughts are. If you had any doubt, you don't even have to say the words. I could feel it. I could not deal with people with doubt during that time. They just were people that I couldn't interact with. I was very clear with everybody in my family, my circle. If you don't believe that I'm going to be well, one, don't say it, or just give me some space right now. But a part of that is heavily influenced by how I showed up. I was joyful. I controlled the narrative so much that they almost didn't have a choice but to get on board. I believed I had supportive people who would see my vision with me. And the universe supported that. For the most part, I literally didn't see or hear the people who doubted. After a certain time, maybe I just got really good at allowing their feelings to bounce off of me and keep moving. But I did a lot of negative control by telling people exactly what I wanted. I do believe that there's more power in multiple people believing the same thing. People would believe that scripturally too. If you believe in the Bible, they say, basically multiple minds coming together and praying for the same thing. So I would literally put an image on my stories on Instagram and tell people what to see for me. Listen, after you've seen the image and read it, it's too late. You've already seen it with me, even if you don't believe it. So every time I had my wellness treatments, I called chemotherapy wellness treatments because there's power in words. I would post a picture of a beach with clear blue water, white sand, lined by a jungle. And I would say, I have a wellness treatment today. See me on this beach, healthy, with my husband and a baby. Whether they believed that was going to happen or not, the image was already seared into their mind. And also, though I had tough days, I posted so much joy.
Yeah. So you kind of force everyone to make their response only joyful.
Yeah.
By creating kind of that atmosphere.
I didn't hide my process. I made the process in my mind just the path I had to walk, right? I was at point A. I wanted to get to point B. Point B was a beach with white sand, clear blue water, lined by a jungle. Me, my husband, and a baby. That part's yet to be seen. But I knew that this is the path that I had to walk to get there. Or the path I chose to walk, right? So I made it fun. I found joy. I made it a time to spend time with my family and friends. Find ways to love. And that part was true. So if I found that in the journey and I displayed that, they felt that. So then in turn, they just believed with me, because literally that's what they're saying.
I like that.
It was true. Does that make sense? Like, it was true, but it started with the belief that it could be true.
Mm-hmm. And how did you make that? I know there's one thing to, admit that, okay, this is what got me to this point. But when did the shift happen that, okay, not only do I want to live, but this is how I want to live. This is how I'm dreaming now. When did that fresh set of dreams come in?
I was diagnosed on 7/7/2022. It was a Thursday. It was a Thursday afternoon. I told my family on Zoom. On Friday, I gave myself the space to feel everything, because there was no longer a time to suppress, right? How much stuff had already stuffed down. This is why I'm here now. I felt everything, but you would not believe it. I laughed so much on that day because I processed through laughter, right? The irony of life is funny if you allow it to be. But I cried, I slept, I laughed, I woke up, I ate, I cried, I slept, I laughed. I talked to people here and there. I had a conversation, a FaceTime with my mom toward the end of the day. And, they don't allow you to listen to the sound, but I did screen record it. And there was tears and so much laughter that day, that moment. I was okay. I knew I was okay, and I knew I would be okay. And I made a decision that day that I was gonna live. How long? But I knew, and I processed so many feelings that I'd had over my life that has limited my ability to live fully. And I just chose. I said, I don't know how many days I got left, but I know that I want to live the rest of them better than now, freer. I felt like I had been waiting for something, but I didn't know until that moment that I had been waiting for something. And I was like, oh, what have I been waiting for? For it to be over? So I then chose to live every day fully.
So it's almost as if you realized that you were limiting yourself mentally by your thought process and wanting to not be present anymore. So much so that it then propelled you into this moment of, well, now I realized that maybe I was just waiting to greenlight myself to actually live. And that's interesting because almost like this enthusiasm that you have now for life is warranted for sure, but it's almost like surprising because it's like we don't really know what life is going to bring, but how beautiful it is that we're ready to jump in.
I lived, right? I was living before, but I think that the difference was I wasn't giving myself permission to live fully as myself and what I really feel. I wasn't expressing the truth all the time, which is why I was suppressing and holding in so much. There were so many feelings that I just felt like weren't okay. And the idea that I've been living like somebody was watching and scrutinizing my every move, like it mattered to somebody else. But my life only matters to me. Nobody's watching like that. We feel like people are just, no, people are so wrapped up in their own lives. They ain't paying attention to you like that. But I think that it's like the combination of like, I'm a performer. People watch me on stage. I believe people are watching my life. But also people are scrutinizing my life and where I should be. Because I'm woman. I am performer. I am not mom. Right? I am not married. All of these things, I was allowing all of these outer beliefs to stifle, just box me in. Like when I think about it, like inside, I was suffocating, judging myself based off of other people's judgments or like society's judgments. And I didn't even feel like that. Like, I'm just chilling and like I'm doing what I want to do. And for me, that was enough, but I didn't allow it to be enough.
Did you follow traditional medical treatment as well, in addition to your holistic approach?
Definitely did Western medicine. Yeah. And that was something I had to overcome. Because if it was just me and I didn't have anybody who loved me, girl, I would have been in the jungle sipping some tea brewed up by a shaman, meditating, right? I did understand though. My family wouldn't understand me making that choice. But it's not like I stopped, right? I continue to meditate. I continue to do the power of the mind. And speaking of the people who know everything on the internet, everybody had a suggestion. And you know, it's funny because a lot of people who are going through cancer, they get really offended by the suggestions.
Why is that? Like, educate us.
So a lot of people feel like they have to make a choice, right? My doctor is saying this. You know, the spiritual people are saying that. Like there's all these different schools of thought about how to cure things. But it's already scary and you have to make a choice. Or so it seems. So people are like, well, don't you think I would rather just drink some tea and meditate? I feel like you don't know what you don't know. So when people would make suggestions, I was open to everything. And I literally tried everything. Anything people sent me. Like if they said, hey, I heard vitamin D3 helps because a lot of people are lacking it and this, all right. Anything people heard, because what will it hurt? People feel like certain things, people will always tell cancer patients like, just stop eating sugar. Sugar. If you stop eating sugar, your cancer will go away. Those kinds of things can be unhelpful given the delivery, okay? Because they're not wrong. Sugar feeds cancer. It makes it big and strong. Does that help to tell people just stop eating sugar? No. Most people aren't going to. And there's more factors. And you're already in this thing, right? Now, let's take that for instance. I did use these kinds of anecdotal evidence to help me. So I am a believer in fasting. I believe that autophagy will help clear out and break down and eat up things that aren't supposed to be there. Do I think that fasting by itself could get rid of the cancer? Was I willing to try fasting by itself? Well, not if I want to show my family that I'm really trying for them. But what I did do was a method that I think actually was really helpful in my recovery. One of the wellness treatments I had was, it's adriamycin. They call that the red devil. It is one of the most powerful and just breast cancer chemotherapies. It goes into your veins red. You pee pink. You have to have your fingers in and like toes in ice and chew ice because it will damage things while you're in chemo. I literally couldn't eat ice for months after that because I could taste the chemotherapy. But my process was I would do like 3 days fasted before. Well, the first day I would do a gallon of water, just eating really clean. The next day I would fast, water fast, gallon of water. Third day before chemo, I would do a gallon and a half of water and I would just fast. The day of chemo, I wouldn't eat. Now, this might be counterintuitive, but when your body goes into autophagy, your cells are doing whatever they can to strengthen. That's why they're eating up all the extra stuff in there. They're finding a way. So that's why we don't starve right away. Your body has a system, your cells on a cellular level. It's going to get rid of all of the ones that aren't operating correctly. Cancer being one of them. However, while your cells have strengthened, your body is now feeding off of your fat. It's in like superdrive. I'm in superdrive survival mode, but like strong. The cancer cells really are weakened because they do need that sugar. So instead of just going into it like, I'm just gonna fast away the cancer, what I did was I put my cells in a strengthened state before chemotherapy. Now the cancer cells are in a weakened state and I'm having the wellness treatment and it is able to work like a wellness treatment because my cells have been fortified while the cancer cells are weaker. Mm-hmm. So do you see how I played both parts? Mm-hmm. This is like, what a natural approach would be combined with the Western medicine. Mm-hmm. And I'm meditating on top of it, right? I'm still releasing and journaling and finding ways to make this joyful. Mm-hmm. Every chemotherapy, every wellness treatment was a finish line. And so I did a fun video with somebody I loved. So now we not only have spent like 3 hours here together, having as much, we had fun. Mm-hmm. But then right before we leave, we do some kind of video. We collaborate. We're creative. Sometimes it took multiple takes, so we're laughing. Mm-hmm. It was pure joy. So even if it was a rough process, even if it was a rough 2 hours, the last part of it was joy-filled. I could not have planned that if I wanted to, right? I only knew my A to B. And essentially wanting to create that feeling. The feeling that I imagined would be at a beach with clear blue water, white sand lined by a jungle with my husband and a baby. Mm-hmm. I essentially created that feeling every wellness treatment. So the ideas just got downloaded into me because God, universe, and I knew the plan. So I got from A to B every week.
I like how vividly you're breaking it down so that other people can also hear and apply it to their lives and really understand where kind of God shows up, however that may be. But I do think if we're listening, we're able to kind of see and observe a little bit more. But this journey is a lot. And as much as you're showing your strength, I know that fear reared its head. So when it showed up, how did you talk to it? When you feel like you're locked in, right, with the universe and God, and you understand what's happening, you know how to get from A to B, and then suddenly you're floored by the fear of, well, what if it doesn't work? Well, what if, you say the wrong thing this time? Or how did you address that? Because I'm sure just as you were confident, there were moments where you were just completely not.
There is one moment that stands out of the entire experience. About 6 weeks after diagnosis is the first time I actually met with an oncologist. First, you get the diagnosis, you meet with a surgeon, and you could meet with oncologists first. It just depends on your process, but with mine, and I didn't know any better that I could ask more questions. Figured that out after this experience. But my surgeon and I, we were so on the same page. We opted to do a lumpectomy first. Get the cancer out. Treat it. But we didn't want it to do anything crazy, grow any further, morph, whatever. Well, what I didn't know is that after you have surgery, you must start chemotherapy if you need it within 8 weeks. Or else you can't do it. So I met with the surgeon, had surgery, and then I did not meet with the oncologist until 3 to 4 weeks after that. And this was a day that my sister was renewing her vows, her 10-year vow renewal. I thought, this is just going to be like a simple meeting. I was starting a show in Oregon 2 days after that. So there was all these beautiful things happening, okay? This is just a part of it. I already know. I've already had surgery. No big deal. We already know I'm going to have to do chemotherapy. And when I got there, the doctor was very impersonal, I'll say. It was a male. He was like, you have to start chemotherapy right away. So the first time I'm hearing it, I'm thinking I'm going to be able to start it after my show. No big deal. The cancer's gone. You have to start it within 8 weeks. And I said, okay, well, I'm 36 years old. I don't have any kids. Chemotherapy affects your fertility. Yeah. He basically kind of was like, I don't know what you're going to do because you got to start chemo like now.
And what was his medical reasoning for the urgency?
Well, that's because it can grow back. It can start to grow back if you don't start to get on top of it.
Okay.
I guess that is industry standard, but that wasn't explained to me prior to surgery, which would have affected my decision, right? Yeah. Which means that he essentially was telling me, I'm not giving you any time to preserve your fertility. And I remember walking out of there like, wait, what?
So you didn't have time to go freeze your eggs even if you wanted to?
Not by his calendar, not his clock. He just lacked empathy. And I'm like, bruh, you do this. This is not the first time a woman has been concerned about her fertility. I think that there's this thing where he's like, well, what about your life? And I think that as a woman, if you want to have kids or you think you want to have kids or you want the option to, there's this question of like, well, what is life without the option to pursue a lifelong dream?
If that's all that I've been hoping for all of my life, essentially. We talk about this since we were children. So to not be able to do that
And now this is the feeling of, wait a minute, is cancer taking something from me that I can't get back, potentially?
That's interesting because even before, you didn't even have that thought of cancer was taking something from me.
Exactly.
But it wasn't until the topic of fertility. Wow.
And my sister, my stepmom, my sister's mother-in-law, they came and picked me up from the hospital because we were going straight to the venue. And I was inconsolable. I was trying to get it together for my sister's wedding, and like, it was just so deep. But girl, when I tell you God got me, 5 days prior, I'd been at my gym, Effect Fitness. They have this marketplace and everybody's out there doing their thing. There's a young lady named Robin. She has an IV therapy, right? She gives shots, immunity shots, B12 shots, the people who do that, like health shots. She does IVs at the gym, and there's a set of twins, and I love them, and they do waist speeds. I would go and hang out with them all the time because I had just gotten all fit and had my little waist beads together. And I told them that I had been diagnosed and that I was going to be leaving for a while. And while I was in my workout, they told Robin. It wasn't gossip. It was just, we are a little family there. And when I came out, Robin said, "Do you know Dr. Sherman Silber?" And I was like, she was like, "He's in St. Louis, look him up. I think he helps cancer patients." I said, "Okay." I opened up Google Chrome. I typed in his name and I left it. I just listened. That was probably the very first suggestion I had gotten because of my cancer that I just listened to. Now, I didn't know why she was telling me this, and I didn't look at anything. I just saw Dr. Sherman Silber, Fertility Center of St. Louis. Sister's wedding happened. I'm trying to hold it together. Girl, I had to sing at her wedding. I didn't even want to be in front of the people. I sang off in the corner. I didn't want to be seen that day. It was crazy. But I left her wedding and I went to my hotel room and I opened up this page and I read Dr. Sherman Silber. And I start to Google him. And he does a procedure where he takes your ovary and freezes it. And he's the only person that does it in America. And he's a pioneer of this, one of the creators of this surgery, which now solves a couple of problems. If I can get this done, I don't have to take the several weeks that it takes to retrieve eggs, because that takes shots daily. That takes a retrieval process. I gotta go to Oregon to go start this show. How am I gonna do that? How is that gonna affect me while I'm performing? And also, I don't have several weeks, says this oncologist. All I do is I send in a note. Hey, like a consultation. And I put that it's urgent. I got an email back saying that he could meet with me a month or so later. And I just replied, it's an emergency. They're going to try to make me start chemotherapy. And she said, okay, can you meet on the next Thursday, 1 week after that? Having that name in my Google Chrome did something for me. It reminded me of possibilities. It reminded me that We don't always know how things are going to work out. But if you remember that you're trying to get to your point B, it's got to work out. This is the only option and path in my mind. So now magically I have this doctor that I ain't never heard of before by somebody who just heard of my situation. She just gave me this tidbit. Do you know? No, you don't know.
Let's answer that now, and I don't.
I spoke with Dr. Sharman Silver on a Thursday. I had surgery on Monday.
Wow.
I left Oregon from a rehearsal process and had surgery on Monday. He was getting ready to go to Israel for a month on Tuesday. The schedule of the show completely changed on that Friday. We had these 4 days off all of a sudden on the days that I needed to recover. They weren't there before. So when I tell you that the universe conspired to make something happen for me, I watched it unravel in front of my eyes in real time. So sometimes we have hindsight as 2020. I'm literally watching it happen. I had that surgery on that Monday. The following Thursday, I had my port installed and I had chemotherapy on Friday.
Now, what does a port installed mean?
So when you're going through chemo, you're gonna have to have your veins and your, everything accessed multiple times. So like if they went through my arm like a regular IV, you can literally burn out your veins. So a port is a way that they can access your bloodstream without going through your veins. Okay? So there's a PICC line and that is in your arm, but they have like these cords hanging out. A port is like a semicircle with a center. I used to say I was like a stick pin, and they just
go to business. Okay.
And that's how they do the infusion. And it's right here. They do it on the opposite side. Like, so my breast cancer was in my left breast. They had it on the right side, and I can actually show you those. I have every single port entry. Yeah.
That's really interesting. How was documenting everything for you? What role did that play in your journey?
I was certain that there would be a point B and that it would matter to me and other people. I felt like it was very important for me to use the opportunity of being in the situation, of having a mindset to know that there is life after a cancer diagnosis. And that doesn't mean that it starts after you're done, because then that would have been the same thing I've been doing, waiting until. No, I wanted to live right now. And I just was certain that I would and other people would want and need to see what I experienced and how I experienced it.
How has your relationship with your body and your thoughts changed since beating cancer?
I have accepted my body in such a more full way. In fact, it hit me that like for my whole life, I've had to deal with shame physically. I was one of those girls who developed early, and the male gaze was upon me as if like it was my problem, that I had boobs and booty. So it was just, I had to decide like, okay, if I lose my breasts, it's just another thing that is going to cause me to feel some type of shame. And I just didn't want it no more. I got to keep my boobs, but I was like, but this applies to everything. I'm over it. I'm over not being small enough, not being fit enough, not that. Tired of it. Because guess what? I could wake up with pieces of me gone, or I could actually not wake up. And then how much would I appreciate my body if I was on the other side and didn't have my body no more? And it's been like, that has been one of the best things to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been into fitness for a long time, but the reasons have changed.
Yeah.
The reason now is because I want to be physically able.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm fine. I just took cancer to make me realize that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, fine, not like you're fine.
Yeah.
It took cancer for me to realize, like, girl, you're fine.
Yeah.
And
You
that's
are
crazy.
beautiful.
Thank you.
Enjoy that. Embrace that. Wow. So it just made you appreciate life and yourself way more.
Yeah. In fitness, you know, though it's been a vanity thing, it's so much more about like actual health. Because those times where I was down, I was only able to bounce back up because I was already strong. So I know that I want to be physically able.
Yeah. What message would you share with others who are facing illness and want to explore the power of their mind?
The first and most important thing that I would share is there is no space for healing in a body filled with resentment. Resentment cannot live in a healing body. Forgive yourself and others for as much as you can, as soon as you can. Take a load off first. And also live for now. Like, now is the only time you have. And if you want a way, if you don't know anything about the power of the mind or healing, then I would suggest looking into Dr. Joe Dispenza, his books and his meditations.
Yeah.
I found him just before I got diagnosed, but I think he's a very good instructor for people who have no exposure. I still practice his meditations now.
Wow. That's awesome. Where can people who watch your inspirational story today find you on social media? How can they support you, follow your journey?
You can find me at Brittney.m.Caldwell on all platforms. That's 2 T's, Ney.m.Caldwell. And I post some things about cancer, mindset, but at the end of the day, I'm still an artist. So I have content on a whole conglomerate of stuff. I write, and I enjoy talking about the irony of trying to create relationship.
Now that you've been rooted by life, how do you plan to continue impacting the lives of those around you?
That is a big question. I think that coming out of a cancer diagnosis, one of the things that nobody tells you, but is very true, there is no going backwards, there's only forward. So there's this idea of like, I'm gonna get back to my life, I'm gonna get back to, and there is no that. Now that I've been rooted by life, I recognize that one of the most important things for me has been learning to master myself. And everyone around me gets the benefit from that, right? Yeah. But the only way you can do that is if you are true, if you're being honest with yourself about who you are, what you want and what you need right now. And I think that what I've realized is that my example of being joyful and who I was honestly and authentically through my treatment, through diagnosis, has impacted people in a really positive way. And that if I want to continue to have a positive impact on the people I love the most, that's gonna be living authentically, because it's gonna keep me healthy and it's gonna keep me whole and moving forward.
I like that. Thank you so much. We appreciate you taking the time. And that concludes Rooted by Life, the Mind That Healed. Anything else you want to say to your viewers today? Your new supporters. You can tell them directly.
Love the people who love you. Love them hard. Love them now. And laugh every single day.
Thank you. Wasn't that such a beautiful story today? So personable, grounded, encouraging. How awesome is it for Brittney to have found the silver lining when life just gave her lemons?
When life hits you with the biggest challenges, you have a choice. You can either live or you can die. Spiritually, mentally, emotionally, you do have a choice. And while the physical part may not all the way be on our time, we can choose to live while we're still here. When I was faced with cancer, I made a decision to live. I chose to live. No matter how much time I had left, I knew I wanted to live. And I knew I wanted to love. I'm forever grateful for the people who chose to love me through the difficult days. I'm grateful for the love that made the worst days fun. And like my best friend always says, it's only a moment. But this moment showed me that without a doubt, I am loved. And more importantly, I learned how much I really, truly loved myself. Look, for some people, cancer may have been the worst thing that ever happened to them. But I thank God that hasn't been my experience. Honestly, I thank God for those 3 hours in a room with the people I love the most.
What's up, guys? So I'm coming in today to show you how I do my sweet and sassy half up, half down. I believe that your hairstyles should match your attitude for that day. And tonight I'm going out with my friends and I wanted something sweet and sassy. So let's get to it. To back. Just like that. Making sure your part is super straight. Next, you're going to take your clips to make sure that you have that back part secure. Now we're going to slick up this part. So I have it on my hand already. This is already clipped back. And we're going to go straight up, right, to create that bun. And then take that excess hair and like wrap it around and just tuck. Got it? Now we want to use some foam. Make sure those edges are slicked. I like to make sure I have like a little design going here. You know, slicks are super cute. A lot of people like want baby hair, but I just like slicks. And then you want to tie that down with a scarf. And make sure you go under. Because you don't want to get all this part all weird. I'll be back. Now that I'm done sitting under the dryer, because my hair is natural, I don't really like, you know, this part being crispy crunchy. So I'm gonna scrunch this. See? Just get it a little bit wet like it was before, like how it was damp, because I don't want it to be all dry. And then, now that that is good, can you be careful taking this off? Oh, slick. And for the finishing touch, she didn't have that, but I like it. How did I do? I'll show you the final look.